Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of Hey Go, Have a Good One. This is part 2 of Pray for the Wicked. If you haven't seen part 1, you probably would want to go listen to that bit first because, you know, then you're going to know all about the context. So anyway, let's go. Whoa! Okay, so we're going to be picking up where we left off here with one of the drunks. So, to start off with this song, to begin with, there are some really weird vocal effects there. Like, it really sounds like a scratched CD. That's kind of what it sounds like. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the verse sounds okay. It's a very different sound, I will say. It definitely sounds more techno than musical theater. Like, I don't know, just to start off with, it kind of sounds like it doesn't really belong in this album. Like, it would fit more in, say, like Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die. Maybe something like that. That's how the verse sounds. The chorus sounds okay. It's nothing too amazing. It's not really grating, but there's nothing that really sets it apart from the verse. It's like the verse and the chorus sound rather similar with each other, both instrumentally and vocally. There's no real change between the two. The second verse does actually pull back a little, so I'm sure it must have changed somehow, but I didn't notice the change until we got back to the verses. There is actually brass instruments in here, but they sound much more drowned out by the other instruments. It sounds a lot more random. Like, I hesitate to say it's cacophonous, because that would imply that it sounds bad to the ears, which it doesn't, but it does sound a lot less structured, I guess. Instrumentally. Anyway, the bridge slows down a lot, let me say. The chorus then doesn't really do much to finish strong. It's a good enough ending, but like, I guess it's like, the general consensus is it's just kind of like, you know? Especially compared to all of the previous songs, which, like, you know, love 'em or hate 'em, they still stood out on their own. You could definitely say, like, oh yeah, that one's high. Or you'd be like, oh yeah, that one's like dancing's not a crime. Oh yeah, that one's Roaring Twenties. Oh no, that one's High Hopes. And then you plug your ears because you hate that song because it's been overplayed quite a bit. Anyway, yeah, this one, I don't know, it sounds a lot more generic, I guess. It still sounds good, but like, it doesn't sound quite as unique. The outro sounds a bit like a behind the curtain section after a recording. So after the song is finished, this guy just starts like talking in the background, and it's like, or like after the song's finished. The guy talking sounds a bit brash here, but everyone else is laughing, so, what was the point of that? And it's like, it's not even the first time that something like this has happened. They've done a similar thing at the end of their songs in Kaleidoscope Eyes, Miss Jackson, and Hallelujah. So it's definitely become a bit of a recurring feature in the albums, but why? Why have you decided to do that? What was the point of that? That's my question. Why choose to do that? As opposed to, like, I'm sure that that's a thing in other songs, but most artists choose to just keep that out of the final recording. So why keep this one in? Yeah. I'm gonna have to have a bit of a think about that one. I wasn't really able to think about it, and like, I haven't really found anything that really explains what's the decision behind all of that stuff. I don't know. No, if someone could answer that question to me, that would be great. Anyway, this song explores the consequences and downfalls of the party lifestyle and being one of the drunks. Although Brendan once enjoyed this lifestyle, if the last album told you anything, he has grown fonder of spending nights in with his wife or having a smaller gathering with friends. I'm definitely in the same boat there. I've never really liked the nightlife that much. I'm kinda indifferent towards boogieing on the disco night. Yeah, I don't know. Big massive parties have never really been a huge thing for me either. This is all a very relatable song for me because, I do that too. So anyway, because it's a very relatable song to me, I'm going to give One of the Drunks a 6 out of 10. This is actually probably the first dud in the album, which, to be honest, is still pretty good, actually. Like, the 7th song out of 11. Like, that's pretty good. And even as far as other dud songs have gone, it's not even that bad. Do I want to... You know what, yeah, I'll go through the other albums, see which songs were, like, the duds in that one. Phoebe You Can't Sweat Out had a lot of duds, but it seems as though Nails for Breakfast, Tax for Snacks was the lowest score I gave, which was a 2 out of 10 for that one. Pretty odd. What was the lowest score that I gave a song in that one? So far it is 5.5 out of 10. Oh, wait, no, we got a 4. We got a 4. Yeah, okay, wait, so what was the 4? The piano knows something I don't know. So we got a 4 for that one. Vices and Virtues. What was the lowest score I gave this one? We've got a 5. Did I go lower than a 5? I don't think I did, actually. I'm pretty sure 5 was the lowest I went, in a song. There are a few 5.5s, but yeah, 5 was the one that I gave the lowest score to, and that one was Ready to Go, Get Me Out of My Mind. Or Get Out of My Mind. Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die. What was the lowest score I gave for that one? We've got a 5.5 here. Vegas Lights is a 5.5. So is Far Too Young to Die. And that was the lowest score I gave in that one. Oh, no, actually. Can't Fight Against the Youth. If we're counting that one, I gave a 5 out of 10 for that one. And then, what was the lowest I gave for Death of a Bachelor? We've got a 6. Hallelujah was a 6. The Good, the Bad, and the Dirty was a 5. Okay, so... Yeah, so this one's actually, like, not bad as far as duds go. Considering that the highest scoring dud song before this was 5. Although, I suppose we can still get a lower score, potentially. But point is, as far as dud songs go, it's not even that bad. It sounds decently catchy, and it sounds okay. But it just doesn't really sound too great in any particular area. Possibly because it stays at the same level and is quite random in the instrumental. However, it is still quite catchy, and although it's not really, it doesn't change up anything and is quite random, it still sounds good. So, 6 out of 10. Next up, The Overpass, and The Overpass, first thing about it, trumpets! Full blast trumpets, and then a really fast drum beat as well. It almost sounds like a Bond opening song, actually. The verse admittedly is a bit disappointing, but it still sounds quite good. Nice backup singers as well. The lyric that says "someone still loves you" sounds quite good. The chorus is quite a bop. It is fast and extremely energetic. The verse is really take you out of it for a brief second because it just pulls back so hard. I don't know, maybe I'm being too harsh with that. Also, the vocals are really good just before the chorus. Like, obviously the singing's good the whole time, but that point is particularly good. Also, I thought that after the second verse, it was going to go back into the chorus, but instead it slows down hugely and then goes to the bridge before then exploding back into the chorus. It's definitely high-speed noise, as he says. You get a female voice saying, "Let me hear you say something. Let me hear you say something," and then it ends quite suddenly. A lot of really sudden endings in this album. The song felt very short, so I was quite surprised when I found out that it's only the 5th shortest song in the album. The shortest is actually the one coming up next. So anyway, this song describes a relationship that's been torn apart but is longed for by Brendan. He proposes to this other person that they meet at the overpass where they can truly be together and just be who they are. I guess this is a very exciting event considering how energetic it all is. Anyway, I give the overpass an 8 out of 10. This song is really fast, energetic, and explosive. I was surprised by just how energetic it all was. It really sounded like a song in a Bond movie or another action spy movie where you travel to exciting exotic locales to stop World War III. Point is, it was very high energy and changed things up quite a bit as well. So yeah, 8 out of 10. I'd say that's a pretty reliable placement there. Anyway, next up we have King of the Clouds, and let me just say, King of the Clouds, the opening, we get this epic a cappella harmony here. It just, it sounds so sick. Like, my gosh, that opening of King of the Clouds is so great. It sounds so good. Anyway, then we get a strong percussion beat to accompany it. The pre-chorus slows down vocally, and then the instrumental cuts back a bit. And then the chorus sounds awesome. It sounds awesome. It's explosive vocally, especially, but even instrumentally, it's quite explosive as well. But it's a much more subtle explosion. It's still rather prevalent, though. That doesn't make sense. How can something be subtle but still prevalent? It's like, I guess what I mean is like, it's not as explosive as the vocals are, but it's still noticeably explosive. Then we get a very interesting ascending vocal effect after the first chorus is done. And then the vocal rhythm picks up in verse 2. It's like he starts like filling in the beats with his syllables more. We then get some strings as well. The pre-chorus makes for a nice reprieve. And the vocal effect drops the voice before the chorus, which then lifts in the sound. The additional lyrics to the chorus add a nice variance, and also add to what I was saying before about the vocal rhythm. We get some nice vocalizations, some fancy singing acrobatic things going on in the outro. Brendan gets to play a bit with it. And then the song's over. Yeah, this song's really short, only 2 choruses. Still, as far as overall content in that short window of time that's concerned, that's a pretty good percentage of quality music. Anyway, this song is a dreamy track that explores the ideas of spatial travel. The song was inspired out of Brendan's weed-induced musings that were captured by Sam Hollander. a friend of Brendan's, and spun lyrics from his ideas, which apparently also involved interdimensional travel, which doesn't show up in this song at all, as far as I know. The track is also the only track on the album to be in a 6/8 time signature, which is pretty unusual, especially for pop songs. I mean, I guess this song isn't really pop, but still. Most songs have either 4/4, 2/2, or 3/4 time signatures, which I know the last one sounds the same as 6/8, but you just double both of the numbers. But 6/8 is basically a faster tempo with longer bars than 3/4. Anyway, this isn't the place for musical theory because I feel as though most of the stuff I don't know much about music theory. This is all just stuff that I just read up on. The only reason I know all of this stuff about time signatures is because I watched a video about it one time. Anyway, I give King of the Clouds a 9 out of 10. This song's really unique, even among the others in this album. Starts off with an a cappella harmony that, as I've said before, sounds sick, and it builds and fills in sounds gradually at a really nice pace. The immersion never gets broken with weird timings or pulling back on the verses too hard, which I'd criticize the Overpass for doing. The immersion never gets the beat is really infectious as well. I found myself lightly headbanging to the beat, which, let me tell you, is quite hard to do because of how fast the beat is. It's like, which doesn't sound that fast, but if you're trying to headbang it, it is. Anyway, next up we've got Old Fashioned. So, we start off percussive. It kind of sounds like a hip-hop track, actually. And then the horns come in. I don't know which horns they are, but they're definitely not trumpets, I can tell you that much. Actually, I know that you've got two different kinds of trumpets. I think it's like a tenor trumpet and an alto trumpet, I think. Is that true, or is that like a saxophone thing? Oh, wait, no. No. Oh, no. I was wrong. How will I ever live with myself after this? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I was so wrong. So apparently, as far as trumpets go, you've got the B-flat trumpet, the C trumpet, the B-flat pocket trumpet, the flugelhorn, the P trumpet? Okay. The D trumpet, the piccolo trumpet, and the bugle. Okay, so I guess I must have been thinking of saxophones when I thought that. It might be one of those trumpets, but just not a very well-known one. I'm kind of guessing that the C trumpet is the one that's more popular. I don't know. Anyway, we get a nice sound in the verses. Well, we got a nice sound in the verses until Brendan's singing then started reminding me of Thunder, the Imagine Dragons song, and then that brought back terrible memories. So we're just gonna try and brush past that, but just like the singing is like the exact same progression as Thunder. The whole like just a young gun with a quick fuse, and it's like But the horns sound nice. The horns always sound nice, actually. But that chorus really explodes vocally. The chorus sounds really nice with the strings backing him up as well. This is one of those songs that explodes vocally only, but not really instrumentally. In fact, if anything, the instrumental slows down, which actually sounds really nice. You get the instrumental slows down, but he gets more explosive with the singing. It sounds nice. Anyway, the verse comes back to a more percussive sound, more hip-hoppy. Let me tell you, the chorus is definitely the best part of the song. Really good vocals from Brendan. The bridge is a nice bridge to the next part. It scales up in intensity quite a bit, and then the chorus comes in full force with backup singers as well. That chorus is great. And then the song ends before the last note once again. Anyway, in this song, Brendan reminisces about his teenage years and good times with his booze and medication. He's also envious about the wasted years with alcohol. So, yeah. Don't let alcohol ruin your life, guys. So anyway, I give Old Fashioned an 8.5 out of 10. Aside from the part that reminds me of Thunder, this song is very great. It's a bop, it's layered, it's explosive. All the elements make for a really nice sound, particularly during the chorus. The chorus really makes that sound. Anyway, then final song, Dying in LA, the final song of the album. We start off with piano. It's a very slow sounding song, potentially a ballad? Anyway, Brendan's singing very high in this song, almost breathy, like his vocals are almost breathy. The pre-chorus has more full vocals, and then the piano and the vocals both get stronger during the chorus. Also, there's a bit during the chorus where he's like, when you're dying, and it sounds almost like a yodel. It's like, when you're dying in LA, when you're dying in LA. No, forget that. Yeah, it sounds almost like a yodel. I don't think it sounds that good. I think there are other vocal techniques that may have sounded better than that. I don't know if a yodel was the way to go there. The second verse has strings in it as well, but we go back to more breathy vocals. The notes seem to be sitting in his different voices rather inconsistently. And what I mean by that is like, it's like switching between like his falsetto and his head voice and his chest voice and that. I don't know, it seems rather inconsistent. I know that there are a bunch of slow or ballad songs which kind of start off, mostly musical theater actually, where the first chorus is sung like very softly, like in falsetto, but then by like the second and third verses, the singing becomes like belting chest voice and that kind of stuff. So it's like the force or the strength or the power of the singing is gradually increasing as it goes along. With this song, it seems a little bit, it's not as consistent. The chorus sounds neat, I will say. The beginning has very nice, bright vocals which sound nice. It's just that part that it's just like the vocal, the yodeling that I think sounds pretty bad. We get a nice strings instrumental to end the song off as well. And if the piano is still there at that point, I can't really hear it. Anyway, the song, as you might expect from the title Dying in LA, it describes the struggles of someone who came to Los Angeles to pursue their dreams, but ended up unsuccessful. It shows how many are captivated by the glamour and opportunities of the city when they first enter, only to be slowly broken down over time. It paints the picture of a person slowly losing hope and becoming who they promised they would never be in the city of broken dreams. Green Day! That's an idea. Yeah. That's always the dark part of pursuing stardom, and it is always quite depressing. Brendan also mentioned how it's like the polar opposite of LA Devotee, which he said was more like a love letter, but LA Devotee still acknowledged the darker parts of LA, if I remember correctly. It's also, unfortunately, a dark reality for a lot of people, which might be a possibility for me. Yay, considering the direction I want to go in. Yay. Yeah, quite the juxtaposition ending this album dark, when basically every other song has been upbeat and energetic to different degrees. But I guess that's quite common for Panic albums. It's like, usually, if there is even like one like slow, dark, depressing song in the album, they're probably gonna save that for last. Anyway, I give Dying in LA a 6.5 out of 10. Out of all the slow ballad songs that Panic has recently ended their albums with, this is the weakest overall. And when I say it's actually been like their three most recent albums that they've decided to end with a slow, I guess, ballad type song. The End of All Things and Impossible Year were the other two. And out of those three, Dying in LA is, I would say, the weakest overall. It's still good, but it's not as memorable as the other slow songs. In fact, where did I rank the other two? Hold on. So, Impossible Year I gave a 7.5 out of 10, and then The End of All Things I also gave a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, so I put those two equally, and then Dying in LA is 1 point lower. Okay, well, overall, the musical theatre influences in Pray for the Wicked are extremely apparent, with trumpets and strings being the main characters in the album. By far, they are in basically every single song in this album, and it sounds great. Like, I'm just gonna say it right here. Trumpets and strings are two excellent sounding instruments right here. I think this album is probably one of the most consistently high quality albums, with Say Amen being, in my humble, professional, unequivocal opinion, the best song that Panic has ever written. For the reasons that I had mentioned when discussing it. I know, a bit of a hot take, but that is my thoughts. Overall, you can tell that Brendan's honed his craft a lot more in this album, with very diverse songs, instrumental and vocal versatility, and all of the songs being memorable for one reason or another. My particular favourites, my particular highlights of this album are obviously Say Amen, but also King of the Clouds, Old Fashioned, and Roaring Twenties. So, for those of you who aren't aware of how I do these scores at this point in time, which I don't know why you wouldn't. I kind of imagine you probably have seen the other. Yeah, never mind. You might not have actually. But what I do now is I take up all of the songs in the album, add them all up, and then divide them by the number of songs in the album to get an overall score for the album as a whole. So it's like we've got 8 out of 10 plus 9.5 out of 10 plus 7 out of 10 plus 8 plus 8.5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 9 plus 8.5 plus 6.5, and then you divide that by 11 songs, and we get an overall score of 7.9 out of 10, which is the highest score out of all the Panic albums. Woo! Congratulations! Pray for the Wicked. overall you have the highest score out of all the Panic albums. So far, so actually, that's all of them. That's all of them. We've done it. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. We have officially made it through every single Panic at the Disco album from the beginning to the end with all the bonus tracks. And for the record, no, I'm not including the singles because, like I'd said before, I was only going to be looking at the albums anyway. So yeah. I guess if we were to go through all of the songs, all of the albums individually, or just like adding up the total overall scores that we had given, the album with the highest score, obviously Pray for the Wicked, 7.9 out of 10. Next, second highest was Death of a Bachelor, which was 7.5 out of 10. And then the next was it was a tie between Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die and Vices and Virtues, both of which had a 7.2 out of 10. However, I think I had actually looked through it. I had calculated them up, and if we're only counting the individual song, if we're only counting the songs that were in the original versions of the album, so not counting bonus tracks or anything like that, I think from memory Vices and Virtues had a higher score than Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die. But as they stand with every single song in the album together, they are tied. Then you've got Pretty Odd with 6.8 out of 10. And then the lowest score overall was A Fever You Can't Sweat Out with a score of 5 out of 10. So that's a decent quality bracket there. A 2.9 bracket. I guess when I go through other bands, I'll be able to draw more of a comparison between them. So I guess we'll see in the future. So yeah, in case you hadn't noticed from that way up here, we Panic at the Disco has kind of gotten consistently better with each album, which is awesome to hear. I'm also well aware that, like, given the amount of time that Panic usually takes in between albums, we should be expecting a new album either this year or maybe next year, considering everything that's been going on lately. And I'm looking forward to that, because if the quality keeps continuing at the rate that it's going at right now, we could be looking at a better album next time, which is always good to hear. So yeah, that is everything. That is all the Panic at the Disco albums. We are done. All 6 of them. Every single song. Done. Scored. Tallied. I've got 39 pages worth of notes here. That's pretty cool, I would say. How many words is that? Let me see. Let me see how many words. Okay, so apparently, 17,730 words. Jeez. Wow. So, in case you hadn't noticed from what I was saying before, yes, I am planning on doing this with other bands. I have an idea on which other bands I'm going to be looking at next. Because there are some that I want to look at, including eventually getting to my favorite band ever. However, not going to be looking at them for quite a while yet. I still haven't decided exactly which band I want to look at next, but I feel as though I'm going to dedicate these types of episodes to just bands rather than solo artists. I guess just because, in general, I kind of prefer bands. a lot of my favorite artists tend to be bands rather than solo artists, but I suppose I could get inspired to look at another album or like a solo artist of some kind in the future. But in the meantime, this will be where we close the book on our Panic at the Disco look-see, a little Panic retrospective, as I've been saying. However, when a new album comes out, I will be here to give it a listen and give my thoughts on it. But in the meantime, I will see you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe! Unless, of course, you're not listening to this on YouTube, in which case, download it. That would probably be pretty cool. Yeah. Make sure to download and share! Yeah, that would probably be the alternative for Spotify and that. Anyway, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next episode. And, well, I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. I should probably start saying that from now on. I will talk to you guys in the next episode. And until then, I hope each and every one of you have a good one.